Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Masters in Fitness Business Podcast, where you get to stand on the shoulders of giants. And today I'm bringing a giant from the state of California, Paden Hughes. Her and her husband own Gymnazo, and we'll get into that name later in the show because I think it's pretty cool, actually. And the reason I have Paden on the show is that she's one of those owners that has taken advantage of this and kind of seen the opportunity and is taking the opportunity to bring her community together, bring her members together, and position herself so that they can be stronger once this is all over on the other side of COVID-19. So, Paden, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So just to bring our listeners up to speed on you, Paden. So you and your husband own Gymnazo. It's a 13,000 square foot facility in San Luis Obispo, California. And you guys that's a big facility, 1,300 square feet. And you guys only do personal training, small group, large group, semi-private, one-on-one personal training. So you guys are crushing it. What's your membership structure? Is it month to month? Is it annual?
So I think part of what we're going to be innovating out of COVID-19 is a simplification of what we currently have. Our team, our motto has been, whatever you need, we will create and deliver. As a result, we have about 100 different membership types, which just floors most people and is not admittedly our strength. But what it does afford people is a sense of customization, and they pay for the privilege.
Gotcha. Okay. But are they month to month? Are they annual?
Most of them are annual.
Okay.
There's a little bit of an incentive to be on a 12-month program, but we're pretty liberal with our hold policies. And so we go after, like, our demographic are rich baby boomers who are in high managerial positions. They pack a punch. They're there to get a good workout in and get going to an important job in life. And they want to know that, yes, I can count on you for 12 months, but I also, when I go on my expensive and long vacations, that you'll not be gouging me and nickel and diming me.
Gotcha. So you got to be flexible for them. And I like that. I had Jay Croft and Rick Mayo on the show, and they talked about that fit over 50 crowd.
Yeah.
And that's where the money is.
For sure.
Because they don't want classes because they have movement issues. Mm-hmm. So they want personal training, and they're willing to pay, and they're able to pay. So that's great. But let's get into, how many members did you have total before COVID?
We had 450 auto paying clients.
Okay.
So obviously there's an ebb and flow there based on people coming in for pain reduction and one-on-one type work that have, that fitness somewhere else, but they come to us for corrective movement.
Gotcha. And then out of those 450 on auto pay, how many do you have? How many froze or canceled?
Currently 30. Yeah, around 19 to 30. 30 asked to hold, and we position them to buy, rent, sell equipment to them, and buy some on-demand video workouts. So they're not on their existing membership, but we have made money off of them. And I would say we've got maybe 4 out of those 30 that we haven't made anything on.
Okay.
So we're feeling pretty good.
Okay. That actually is like 19 out of 450. You're killing it. Yeah. If you're still getting those monthly dues, at least for now. So let's talk about COVID-19.
Yeah.
So what was the first sign, or when did you first realize we're going to have to close and we better make some preparations for this?
So, I mean, I'm sure everyone listening can relate. I feel like every 24 hours we were changing our tune. We were singing a whole fresh new song about what we're doing about this. A month ago, this was not our problem. This was the flu at best. I would say about March 12th is when I realized there's going to be some stuff we need to take note of. But we didn't think we had to close. We just thought that we would have our socially conscious clients start, staying at home, sheltering at home, and then we would be able to serve the people that wanted to come in. And we just thought that's what we were dealing with. And I even made a joke, and I hope this is cool to say, but it was literally like if you were liberal, you were at home, and there was a good 3 days where every Republican was on the floor. And it was just like, I could have just guessed what was happening here politically, but it was just, that's what we thought we were dealing with. Half of them are going to be at home wanting workouts, and half of them are going to be coming in and still paying our bills. And then I would say about March 13th, it was very obvious that this was actually a PR opportunity for our business. If we were to stay open until a closure would be forced on us, we would actually look bad to our progressive clients. And we had to make that decision. And my husband and I didn't see eye to eye on that at first. And I just said, honey, it doesn't make sense. He's like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I know it doesn't. It's a PR thing at this point. We can't afford to be, bucking this or promoting unhealthy practices locally when people are really afraid. And it's not even about the science right now. It's about the emotion of our clientele. And so we closed on the 17th. Worst St. Patrick's Day of my life. We walk out of our huge facility, turn the lights off. It's, 13,000 square feet and no one's in it. And it's like, I want to say it was a Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. We had a shelter in place locally the next day. And so on the record, we looked proactive, which was all I wanted to achieve. But, every day we're closed, we're kissing goodbye a good $1,000 to $2,000 of cash paying clients that won't necessarily convert online. And so every day we stayed open mattered.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you. It did become a PR issue. It became more about the optics than the science.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to be that gym in the community that stayed open and defied the order. So I agree with you there. Okay. So you knew that it was coming. So what kind of prep work did you guys do to prepare yourselves to make that transition?
So I love a good crisis. Like, I feel like I'm one of those type A's that's just made and bred for a good war effort. And so I went just full on, like, team, we are shutting this down. This is what's happening. I think it was Wednesday night. We literally toasted with a little whiskey at like 4 p.m. as a team. It was like, we're going to come through this. We're going to be strong. And we closed down the facility. We were all feeling a little off. The next day it was like, okay, these three, my top programmers, these are the programs you guys have to write. You have to write everything tomorrow, like, still work. You're not like, we're not letting you go. I need you to program. And then you're shooting in facility Thursday, Friday, because even though we were closed for business in such a huge space, there's plenty of space for you to be able to work, shoot video, and maintain your social distancing. But we basically, by Saturday, we had 4 on-demand programs shot, ready for release. And Sunday, I knew we were going to get holds. It was a race against holds. So people, I believe, buy and place holds on emotion. And we knew people were in denial about it. We were in denial about it. Everyone was saying 2 weeks. Every other gym in town was writing out emails saying, we're going to place everyone on hold. Our clients, our team members will be fine. We'll do some live streams maybe, but we'll ride this thing through. We just want everyone to stay safe. And I was like, every part of me is like, you guys are kissing money goodbye right now. Like, this is not the play. This is not the play. So I knew that by Sunday night, people were going to be flipping out and sending us emails on hold, and we had to beat that. So Sunday afternoon, in their inbox was our architected plan on how we're going to continue to offer value. Speak to them, don't save us. Don't do me a pity party. Like, I'm here to save you. You're the one that's going to get antsy in your living room. You're the one who's worried about your sanity with your kids running around you trying to swing your job. Like, I'm here for you. Let me meet you in your living room and offer you the value that you need and to come alongside you. And I kept saying to everybody, our vision is to be the bright spot in COVID-19. And when you look back, we showed up for you. Our team came to serve, and it was one of the healthiest and the coolest ways that you found community through a really isolating time. And so because we led with that message and had real solutions for them, and our entire goal was, don't place your account on hold. Let's just offer as much value so that you don't ever ask for a hold, that you're so stoked with what we're bringing to the table that we had reduced our administrative demands. and you just keep your membership going as long as you could. And we knew we probably had about 2 weeks of that working before people start going, well, hey, that person's 2 times a week membership and they're getting access to the same stuff I'm getting access to, and I'm 5 times a week. So every week we've been dripping out like more VIP value to the higher paying clients so they feel taken care of.
Gotcha. So I had Rick Mayo on the show, and we were talking about the importance of leadership during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Not only leadership for your team, but leadership for your members. So it
Yes.
sounds like you did that. You kind of took the lead, because I was in kind of the same boat as your husband. I did not want to close because I had my team members going, when are we closing? I go, we're going to close when they make us close.
Mm-hmm.
And then my general manager, who is kind of, who keeps me grounded.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that tells me, no, you're crazy, or that's stupid, which is why, she's so valuable to me,
Sure.
because she's not like just going to sign off on anything. And she's the one that said, I think it's time to think about closing because of the optics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we decided to do. So you addressed your team, you addressed your members, and took that leadership role, and it sounds like everybody responded positively to that.
Yeah, I'll be so honest. Sometimes you lead with confidence and you're basically speaking out what you want to believe yourself. And a lot of times that's how we get through hard times as leaders. But I was insecure that it wasn't going to work, honestly. I mean, I was calling my office manager who came off maternity leave when she heard all this was going down. She's got a 5-week-old at home and she's like, I'm back. What do you need? And I'm just like, you're the most amazing human ever. And she and I were going back and forth, and I was like, okay, can you take all the customer service back so I can just focus on positivity and hype and getting people energized and seeing the bright side here, the team, the members, etc. And she said, yeah. And every day I'd be like, hey, what are we doing? Like, how many holds are there? She's like, Paden, everybody's converting. I don't have a single person, once I tell them what we've built, that wants to place a hold still. And we're talking people that lost jobs, because of basically when you go back through your credit card statement, you're saying you're picking between us and Netflix. You're picking, we're competing for luxury discretionary dollars until we are their sanity. And until we are the difference between them being depressed and feeling like they have a sense of belonging. And at that point, we pivoted. Like, we're not a fitness company anymore. We're a mental health company right now. And if we embrace that, yeah, they're moving, they're sweating, but what we offered now, I mean, we've done stuff we would never have done. I have a morning show every day at 7 a.m. with my husband and I. We Facebook Live with our 2 kiddos who are under 3, just to have coffee. Literally, we're doing like a spontaneous, we have a funny way of bickering back and forth, and we're good with it. And it's not like unhealthy banter, but it's entertaining as heck. And we're just sharing funny stories about us and our lives, and people are commenting on our kids and asking how we make our coffee in the morning, and they're commenting back and forth, and we're reacting to their comments. And it's bringing people into our home, which increases trust and vulnerability. And at the end of the day, it's working because they love us. And I'm not just saying that in a prideful way, but when you care about somebody and you're in their living room with them every morning at 7, you're not canceling your membership because you want those babies to be safe. Like, you want them to have food on that table. And it's actually super strategic. So that's just one thing. We also do beer socials now on Zoom. It's hilarious, the stuff that we've got going on now. But again, it's because we started to say, look, we are their sanity at this point.
Yeah, those are great ideas. So let's get into the specifics
Yeah.
of what are you doing for your members, to provide value, to provide that customer experience for them, like specifically.
Yeah.
Can you
Specifically.
walk us through that?
Yeah. So I just sat back and said, okay, why, the first thing you can think as a business owner is it's too noisy online. How am I competing with the Sweat app or Peloton? Like, it's saturated. They're probably saturated with better tech and like rock star coaches that are celebrity status. How are we showing up in this space, and how are we going to dominate? And I had those exact same thoughts, but then I said, well, what makes them love us? And it's, they love our coaches. the personalities of your team. They are celebrities, you know, in their own right to your membership. So they care a lot about that. They love the community and the connection. They love the sense of us giving them a schedule and keeping them accountable to their results. Okay, so honestly, did I even mention workouts once? No, I really didn't. I actually mentioned quite a bit of other things. And so we said, okay, how do we solve for those things? And so, yeah, our workouts are great. For sure they are. But we started to say, like, we need to give more access, double down on value. And so what I mean by that is now it doesn't matter if you were 1 time a week or 5 times a week. You now, if you're not placing your membership on hold, because again, that's the goal. You don't lapse your membership. You don't put it on hold. You don't, you know, if you're going to cancel it, you're going to buy something from us. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to sell you something. But for the rest of them, we're just like, just continue to support us. We'll continue to show up for you. And so we did things like our coaches, like, it's like, what makes Mitch fun? Well, Mitch is one of my coaches. He's hysterical. And every day he does like the randomest question of the day during the warm up. That's unique to his style. I said, great, Mitch, every day I need you to video a question of the day. It's going in the Facebook page. And people are answering and commenting back and laughing and think it's hysterical. We've got, you know, Kalina. Kalina's kind of like a ball buster coach. Like, she's just going to really raise you. For every effort you put in, there's more there, right? So she's just like that. And so she has coach challenges now that she's sending out, and people are, you know, hashtagging back and forth. And it's things like CJ. CJ brings in a mindful element. Like, he's really centered and spiritual. And so he's now doing a mindful movement class in his garage at night. But now all of a sudden, well, you might have only come in Tuesday at 7:10. You now have access to 3 different live events that are archived and saved in the Facebook group for you to reference. We now, you know, started rolling out remote training. We gave ourselves a week to figure that out because that was not a clean shift in technology for us. We demoed on ourselves plenty of times before we felt we could actually lead through Zoom a series of people. And so we just started dripping it out. And now we're doing equipment bundles with specific programming that goes with it. And now we're taking care of our higher tier clients. And now we're doing semi-private sessions with 3 athletes to 1 coach with their own specialized equipment that we're dropping off to their homes. So that because we started to realize about a one weekend of body weight only workouts, people are just like, okay, we need more. And we're sitting here with hundreds of pieces of equipment that are just collecting dust at this point.
So how do you work that equipment bundles? What are the logistics behind that?
So we're launching it next week. We're figuring that exact piece out right now. I basically said, okay, out of our, you know, all of our members, most of our members are 2 to 3 times a week. They're being overserved in value. They're safe right now. Who's not safe? The 4 to 5 time a weekers and the, you know, people spending, you know, $400 a month with us. Okay, so they're at risk, in my opinion, at this point. So what do they want? Well, they're going to need foam rollers. They're going to need mobility sticks because we do a lot of mobility training. Okay. Well, you know what? We just ran out of mobility sticks. We got 40 of them in facility. I got 80 people to serve them to. So we just went to Home Depot, bought some heavy duty PVC pipes, 6-footers. And now we're spending all weekend taping out the ends so they look a little bit better and aren't going to rip up your floor. I mean, we're scrappy and people are so thankful. And we're just including it as, again, a value add to not lapse your membership. And so then they're getting some of those recovery tools, and then we're going to give them, or either do a drive-by, you know, pick up your equipment, specialized equipment. So we might only have like 20 Bulgarian bags or sand bells. So basically they're just just bags filled with sand. Mm-hmm. And we're going to deliver those at different weights, and we've programmed specifically for that. So now they get exclusive access to their own equipment for the week, and we'll recycle through drops of equipment on a weekly basis. It's definitely heavy on the workload, but I've got team members who have salaries to pay for. Like, they got to work. They have never worked for their salaries more than they're working right now. And I'm super clear about that. So there might be driving equipment around, and that's part of what they're doing.
Gotcha. Okay. And then how do you track that to make sure you get all that back?
Oh, big Excel spreadsheets and a neurotic business owner named my husband, Michael. He's the king of the facility, man. This is gutting him to have this equipment just sitting there.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well,
We have
just to
these
have,
big stretching cages called true stretches that we have
mhm.
16 of them. He's ready to get a flatbed and run them to people's homes just to have them rent it for $50 a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it takes, right? You got to get the
Yeah,
hustle on. All right.
100%.
So let's talk about in the specifics. Then you mentioned the morning show
Yep.
and beer parties on Zoom.
Hmm.
Anything else that you guys are doing?
We've got some plans. We're doing a big community. We always do community workouts where it's donation based, raising money for the community. It's just super cool to give back like that. We're going to do a big 100-person Zoom community workout next Saturday with 5 coaches leading different components of the workouts. I honestly couldn't tell you the technology, but the team's working on it right now to try to figure that piece out. But we'll be raising money for a local family who just so happens to be an anesthesiologist who suffered a head injury and is in critical condition, raising money for his family. So, and then if that goes well, we'll be raising money for ventilators, for, face masks, for all the things, and trying to come up with ways to support the community. We're also doing, this is a great one. We're also doing PE classes live for the community because the stay-at-home moms who are really working moms half the time, they're going nuts trying to keep these kids inside. And now they're threatening to close all the trails in the area because people aren't observing a 6-foot space. So the moms are going nuts. So we're going to do PE with Goose, one of my other coaches.
Okay. And then, so those are all great. And I love how exercise isn't even at the forefront of those. Like you
Nope.
said, it's about sanity, it's about community, it's about entertainment,
Yep.
and giving, over delivering value. I
Yep.
really like that. Those are great ideas and a great quote. So let's talk about your team. So
Yeah.
how many you have 10 employees?
Yeah, I did trim the fat a little bit, as nice and with zero backlash. But we had a part-time support girl who was about 4 weeks into her temporary role for 10. And then when my manager came back off maternity leave, we didn't need her. She was considered non-essential. Sorry to say it that way, but she and I talked. She totally got it. I said, look, I have a responsibility to my salaried employees, and I'm worried I can't afford them through this, and I got to prioritize the core. And she got it. And then I had to let another lady go. I learned my new best interview question, which I will use for the rest of my life, which is, if COVID-19 ever repeats itself, and I emailed the entire team this, would you rather collect unemployment? Would you rather participate in a company-wide reduction in pay? Or would you rather us cover your basic living expenses till we can get through this? And every single person on my team who I consider core came back saying, I'm working through this regardless. Like, we are in this 100%. Hope you can cover my basic living expenses. Here's what those are. But the person that didn't answer that way was somebody I was considering as someone who may not be as bought in as some of the rest. And sure enough, she said, I'd rather be unemployed. And I said, great, let's do it. We're on the same page. Let's move forward. And now I won't hire anybody that says unemployment's an option, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just not a team.
Yeah. I had Rick Mayo on, and he was saying that's a great way. If you got somebody who, like you said, isn't bought in on your team, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of trim the fat, as you said. So now, out of those 10 employees, how many are on salary?
All of them,
Oh,
except for
really?
one
Okay.
guy. And he was kind of an on-call status, but
Mhm.
he's a bartender. So he's a bartender who can't bartend, who is also a part-time trainer, who's the most recent hire. So he said, I will literally do whatever it takes. I will drop equipment off. I will video. We're saying, okay, my husband's sitting there videoing, spending all these hours uploading videos, editing things. I said, can you outsource that part of your role? Because you're more valuable to me doing, remote client pain reduction sessions for profit, than sitting here doing all this video editing. And he said, yeah. I said, who do you got for me? And I said, what about Sean? And sure enough, he was like, okay, and Sean has an aptitude for it. He's quality control king, and he is crushing it, and he's making his hours.
Nice.
And
So
he's
you're
irreplaceable now.
right.
Honestly, we're super loyal to him.
Yeah. Well, because he showed that loyalty to you
Yeah.
and that commitment to you. So you want to reward him for sure. So how did you decide? Well, keeping all your members, you should be able to continue to
Yeah.
be able to pay them. But how did you decide who was doing what? How did that delegation process happen? I know organically because it was like a fire drill. But
Yeah.
how did you decide it, and what does it look like?
So one thing that, I mean, I'm not strong on everything. Obviously, we all have our proclivities. My thing is I'm good at talent mapping. I'm good at seeing the potential someone has. Like if you're detailed, now I know I can give you a spreadsheet. You know, it's like all the things that make a coach really good. Some people are the technical kind. Some people are the hype kind. Okay, so you're hype man, great. You run social. Like if you're queen of details, you are now running customer quality control. Like you've got to be obsessed with making sure people are stoked on everything we're doing. And so we just divided it up. I had some pushback from my managers on a couple things because I was saying, hey, let's create a community outreach live video series. And he said, it's too saturated. We're not differentiating if we do that. And he was spot on. And so I love that. I'm a huge supporter of people disagreeing with me
Hmm.
because there's no way I can possibly understand all the dynamics. And I looked at it and it was right. Like every other training facility is running like 3 live sessions a day. So why would we be different? And that's where we came up with the PE idea, because we kept reading articles saying students are just being sent links to HIIT workouts on YouTube. Okay, I mean, cool, but that's in my wheelhouse now. Like now it's like, well, hey, how do I just go out this saying I want every parent loving gymnazo at the end of this in my town? And we're a super small town. Like the fact that we hit 7 figures last year in a town of 44,000 people is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, but market consolidation's coming. And we're not here to steal from any other facility in town. I want them to keep theirs and to stay open. The consumer wins when there's competition in the marketplace, but there's work to be done. There's still people on couches. There's still people fighting anxiety right now. We know you can tackle anxiety with action.
Yeah,
So
that's a
yeah,
great point. There is going to be some market consolidation. I think on 2 fronts. One, I think some of the weaker players aren't going to make it through this, so I
I
think
agree.
competition is going to be down once the smoke clears. And two, I think those who really seize upon the opportunities and continue to deliver value to their clients and to the community, those are going to be the stronger players coming out of this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So you got all your employees taken care of. They're on your team, and everybody's doing their job, and you guys are crushing it. So what's your timeline look like?
I think we're going till July on this. I mean, we're all psyched. Like we're going, okay, we've got to come up with ideas. We don't launch any idea we can't sustain for 3 months. Like, first of all, that's how we're kind of filtering some of our more off the cuff ideas. Like even the equipment bundles, it's like, okay, well, how do we do this intelligently? Because in 3 months of having one cool piece of equipment, you're over it. So
Right.
that's where we said, okay, maybe we recycle every week through some of this equipment to keep it fresh. And then we program for it. So the programs are being leaked out in a cool way that progresses people through with us. So that's where a lot of those ideas were coming from, is just, can we do this for 3 months?
Okay. So do you have like phases in mind?
Yeah.
So walk us through those phases.
So I created a fitness business owner playbook, and I kicked it out like the 16th of March. And I've had hundreds of downloads on this sucker because I articulated a 3-phase plan. The first phase was to just continue business as usual and be building in the background. We're through that phase, most of us. Second phase was, okay, we're migrating. It's all about retention of clients, and we're migrating people through. The third, and we're pretty much in California, we're definitely through that. The third phase is we add value, and we establish with pure focus a revenue model and a revenue stream that we will never be without again. Like, we will hybrid this sucker. I'm so passionate about this, but a hybrid business model for us in fitness is so smart, and it'll never catch us off again. Like, we will never be caught off guard about this. We're here. We're making this happen. Everybody that's ever been in just exclusive online training better watch out, because the people that brick and mortar, what do we do? What do we do better than everybody else is curate a client experience. And we now have more technology at our fingertips to do that. What makes us so good in person, we can find ways to do that online with success. They better watch out, man. We're coming.
I agree with you 100%. You know, it's always funny to me that everybody, because I've been doing this show for going on 4 years now, and everybody is like, well, how do you do online training successfully? Guess what?
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Yeah, you
did. Because we didn't have any other option, right? And you guys figured it out. So I agree with you. It's definitely here to stay. And just like those coffee talks in the morning and your happy hours, all of that stuff, all that online client engagement is here to stay. But I agree with you. It's definitely going to be a hybrid model. So how do you see that hybrid model working post-COVID?
So you know how I admitted to our big weakness of having over 100 membership types, which makes everybody cross their eyes and think we're nuts? Well, we are going to try to use this to our advantage to simplify. And we're coming out here. My manager and I are going to meet on early next week and say, okay, how can we come up with like no more than like 5 memberships, but half of them are going to have some hybrid model. I mean, we've even talked about, we only open Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, Tuesday, Thursdays, remote training, auxiliary service day, and that we close down because we're filming new content and we're doing live events to train trainers and all these different goals that we have, that where the facility was always the problem. Because it's like, we want to use the facility for everything, but we can't have 70 people in here training while we're trying to get quiet time over here to film content. And now we're saying, okay, I bet you 80% of my members want some remote access for just the days where you just need, at 9 p.m., you have an hour in your living room and you want to do something, but the gym's closed. And for a lot of busy professionals, that's a real scenario. And now there's zero excuse, because we can meet you in your living room with class and in a fun way.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I agree with you. I think it's here to stay. So you said 3 months, you said July.
Yeah. So maybe that's 4 months.
Yeah. But
it's probably closer to 4.
Yeah. I can't even remember what day it is now, much less
I know,
what month it is.
Hard.
It's like, oh, today's Friday. I saw somebody post it. Actually, Josh Levy with ASF posted, today's Friday. I'm like, thanks. I needed that.
Yeah. Good to remember.
And I've created like categories of sweats that I wear around the house. These are my nice sweats. If I'm going to the grocery store, these are my stay-at-home sweats. But so how are you positioning yourself to come out of COVID? What are some of the things, some of the tactics and strategies you're going to use to come out of this stronger?
You mean like to survive it through the next few months, or after it's all said and done?
After it's all said and done.
Okay. So we're going to position ourselves to acquire clients from all over the world. And that probably means I'm going to have to hire out some Facebook advertising at some point, because quite honestly, I'll cross my eyes to see how all the split testing goes and how people really figure out their messaging. But we're going to try to acquire remote clients. We're definitely going to hire more. I've got 3 interns that were, halfway through their internship on track to get hired, and they're on hold right now, but possibly there's a great opportunity for them. We're coming back with a vengeance. Our community is literally, every entrepreneur in town is emailing me for advice on how to rethink their business. And it's just because we're so client focused right now, and we haven't projected any of our insecurities. We have plenty of them, but we're just not giving them space. Like, we're just giving it everything we've got and having fun with it. And so we're going to come back thought leaders out of this. We're going to come back with a lot of respect in the community that garners additional buy-in to what we're up to. But what's been scary, I would say the only thing that's been scary for me, and I did have like, okay, you got to deep breathe through this one. And this is before it all went down. And, it's stuff you don't want your team to see, but you're sitting there having this come to Jesus talk with yourself about what are your values? Like, are you going to put everyone on unemployment because you're protecting cash? Well, there's some sense in that. And some might argue that's a really good approach. My mindset's always been the tribal mindset. I'd rather hunt with 10 hunters than be alone in my cave hoping one of us scores a kill. Like that's just what we're doing. That's the mindset that I have right now. But it was, we invested a lot of money, all of our reserves. This is the bad timing of COVID for us. We invested all of our reserves and even had loans to build out a whole new gymnasio media platform to train trainers on our skill set and to do what we do, which is to fill that gap you were talking about earlier between restoration and performance when you're post clinical. Yeah, but you're not ready to reintegrate with the lifestyle that you love, and how can we do that? And how can we help others level up? And this couldn't have come at a worse time because that business wasn't even breaking even. And we're sitting there going, oh no, the gym that was the cash cow is having to float this startup. And what I might have had reserves for my team for 3 months. I don't have reserves for my team for 3 months. But I'll tell you what, and this is what makes an entrepreneur and a leader, you throw some fire underneath them and they show up. Mm-hmm. And I've never had fire like this ever in my professional career. And I am literally, I'm here for it. Nobody is going to walk out of here without me wanting to sell them something or serve them in a way that's tangible. And my teams, I'm not letting them go. And I mean, but it got scary for a minute. I go, if this shutters our business, which is like a euphemism for a hardcore shutdown, what are we going to do for 3 months? Like payroll for me is $45,000 a month.
Whoa.
Like what? 3-4 months of that? Like, am I good for it?
Yeah.
So, but I've been honest with the team. I mean, I built a whole plan and I sent it to them via email. And in that plan was ask rich family members for money. Like, it's just honestly like who has money, who believes in me, who can I look in the eye and be like, I'm good for it. Trust me on this. And we'll write up some terms. We've had clients, and I'm sure everybody listening's had a client say, if you ever need cash or want an investor in your business, like I'll be happy to partner with you. And we made a list of who those people are. And I mean, this bailout thing, I've been seeing so many owners sit back and be like, I really hope we get some cash. I'm like, it's not cash. It's a freaking loan.
Right.
Like you're still paying this back. Well, right. I'm here to say I'm going to milk my members and I'm going to figure out what they're missing, what they're desperate for, where their psyche is letting them down. And I'm going to fill that void because at the end of the day, they'll buy on emotion. And if I make them feel valued and important and that they're not alone, they're with me through this. And if they are with me, if even 60% of them are with me through this, I can pay my people.
Yeah. I love that. I love your enthusiasm. Yeah, you're not showing any insecurities at all.
I got him.
Yeah. No. I mean, we all do. I mean, it's like, to me, it's the equivalent of being a good leader means like, if I send my kids off to school and I say, okay, Jackson, you go to school. Daddy doesn't know if he's going to be able to pay the mortgage or the utilities. So the house might be dark and cold when you come home, but you go to school and you have a good day. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be wrecked with anxiety. So it's my job as a parent to protect him from that, not only provide for him and take care of him, but also to not lay that burden on his head because he's got to just focus on doing what he's got to do to be better, and it's the same as being a leader for your team. You want to take that anxiety, as much of that anxiety away from them as possible so they can focus on what they have to do to be a valuable member of your team.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lay that at their feet or on their head. So what I heard you say as far as what you're doing to position yourself, I heard two things really. Is one is what you're doing now for your members and for the community is positioning you to come out of this stronger because you're showing yourself as a leader who has risen above this and is leading the team, leading her members, and leading the community. And that is so valuable. People, like you said, people remember that, and they will remember that post COVID-19. And the other thing that I want to dive into is getting clients from around the world. So what steps are you taking, or have you taken any at all, to build that platform to achieve that?
So I'm not satisfied with what we're currently doing in terms of having so many different technologies that we're leveraging. I just think that's going to play itself out. We're doing it. We're scrappy right now, but it's not going to be the quality we need. So part of what we're needing to do right now is to say, okay, how can we get in one place the live streaming option, the remote option, without having to have, everyone do Zoom, and Zoom's crashing. And there's a lot of bandwidth on Zoom right now. Like, how are
Hmm.
we stepping out? Are we going to do our own branded app? So all of those ideas are on the table right now. The branded app's too expensive for me, just straight up right now. Like, unless I find a real good white label version, that's a longer term vision. But we're just really testing, and we're using, like we always done, we're using our hundreds of clients as live testers, giving us feedback. And boy, do they give us feedback, right? If it's even off remotely, we're hearing it from 50 people in 20 minutes. Okay, pivot. That won't be what we use. So for me right now, it's going to be trying to find that platform that's sustainable. And then and this is like a kind of, what's the low hanging fruit? Well, the low hanging fruit is we've trained 2,000 people. A lot of them have moved away because in our world, there's not an established economy for head of household jobs. So when people move out, they're going to San Francisco and LA, and we keep hearing, we wish there was something like you guys, a little more functional, a little more savvy around movement dysfunction.
Hmm.
So we're hitting all of them up, and to get them to buy our on-demand programs and opt in. Then we're going to curate niches. So like, we've got a program for females who pee and can't control their bladder. Well, there's 50% of American females,
Yeah.
surprisingly enough.
Yeah. Pelvic
Cool.
floor. Yeah.
Pelvic floor stuff. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
we'll,
Yeah.
and we'll
Those
meet
babies,
women
those
there.
babies tear it up. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And that's like a real niche.
Hmm.
Then there's the over 50 crowd. And quite honestly, that's been an intimidating crowd for a lot of trainers, because we all have respect for just not wanting to make it worse.
Hmm.
So there's that skill set around that. And so we niche down. Then it's going to be, you can literally create endless. So we're going to have to do this at scale. It's going to be connecting through podcasts. It's going to be connecting through Facebook groups in a non-sleazy, creepy way. It's just adding value to people. And it's going to be a freemium model, which is what a lot of people talk about. And in fitness, we're not used to that. What do you mean give away stuff for free? I get charged, people will pay me $125 an hour to train with me. Why would I be giving you stuff away for free? And so then, it's the what's free, what's not conversation. And we're going to, again, as long as you've got that foundation that's got your people paid, and provides you some bandwidth in terms of funding to grow and build, you can use that strategically. But we're going to have to start putting out content that's free to
Yeah.
get people to trust us.
Yeah. To build that trust, to build that
Yeah.
relationship, establish yourself as a spokesperson, all of those good things before they'll purchase from you.
But
Um,
talk to me in a month, I might have a whole new plan. But
right. Yeah.
it's just all changing.
Well, that's all of us,
Yeah.
like when this was all coming down, what worked one week didn't work the next.
Yeah.
So you just have to put on your big entrepreneurial pants and go to work, get your hustle on for sure. So Paden, this has been great. You've been awesome, really. You've got me fired up, the
Heck
way you
yeah.
talk. Yeah.
Good.
So I usually end with like 3 questions, but they're now a moot point. The first one is, what's your most successful failure closing your gym because of COVID? What's the
Yeah.
biggest
That's
surprise you've
pretty
ever had
good.
to deal with?
COVID.
COVID-19. So my last question is still, I think, relevant, in that you have shown exceptional leadership through this, for your team, for your community, for your members. So where do you go for your personal and professional development?
Well, That's a great question. I'm a podcast junkie, and I really believe that 80% of business problems come from the psychology at the top,
Hmm.
which means everything's my fault when it goes down. And I don't mean that in sort of a martyr hero style, because that's dysfunctional as well. But I mean, I'm pumping myself full of positivity. I mean, just little habits, right? Like you have your morning routines. It's hard for me with a 7-month-old and a 3-year-old at home to have much of a morning routine at the moment.
Hmm.
They so much as sneeze and we think they've got COVID.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm doing is even just in my drives, like I'll take a walk or a drive and I literally will, like a crazy person, speak out loud everything that I hope and dream for in 5 years as if it's already happened. And it fires me up. I mean, it's stuff like COVID-19 hit and my team stayed together. We were the only gym in town that maintained the full workforce. At the end of it, my team could, train, and we developed an entire revenue model that brought in 30 grand a month that we didn't have established before, or whatever it is. And I'm speaking it as if it's already happened, and it fires me up and keeps my mindset really protected. But yeah, it's so much positivity. It's dreaming, like dreaming. I'm a dreamer, but a doer, right? You can't be a business owner without a little mixture.
Hmm.
And I'm so close to my dreams right now. I'm
Oh,
keeping those real close.
that's
And I'm
awesome.
not watching the news. Quite honestly, I'm really not. Like, I am not on social media to absorb anything that's going negative, because I can't afford to doubt.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. I think I limit I did it before this. I probably watched more network news during this than I ever did before, because I purposely boycotted the news because it just
yeah,
brings so much negativity into my head, like you
yeah,
said. And then you get that negative self-talk. And then before you know it, I've talked myself right out of business,
yeah.
in my head. So that's great advice. And this has been great. So you talked about the, uh, where I got my notes, not the equipment bundles, the, where did I write that? The thing that you send out, the business leadership.
Oh yeah.
What is it called again?
You mean when we train trainers?
Yeah, no, you said you had a bunch of people downloading it.
Oh yeah, I'll send you the link so you can make it available to your crew if they want it. It's
Yep.
called the Fitness Business Owner Playbook COVID-19.
Okay. Yeah, send me that link, and then
Yeah,
I will put that link in the show notes. It'll be on go to trainergym.net, click on this episode of the podcast, and that link will be in the show notes for you to download that. And I'm curious to see it as well. So definitely send me that link and I'll put it in the show notes.
yeah. I
So
mean, and it's honest, because I talk about, literally, you'll read in it: ask wealthy family members for money. Get to your number. What's your break even? Two last comments that I've been just absorbing so much business knowledge. What are we doing through this? And the city manager and I were on the phone. She was sharing with me what the resources are. And there's two things: is one, reach out to your landlords and ask them for free rent for anywhere from 2 to 6 months. You got nothing to lose. You can amortize it. You can kick it to the end of your lease. They are more scared of you folding and not coming back than you would imagine. And so we've already been in talks with them, and they basically off the record said, we won't charge you late fees, and we understand if you don't pay us through this. And that, for us, that's 15 grand a month. That's great not to spend that in rent. And
yeah,
so that's been one thing. The other thing is, if you're holding the balance on your credit card, you can actually tell them it's COVID-19 that's causing you to have a balance, and they will most of them will drop your percentages down to like 6% instead of 19. So just some quick little tips, but there's a lot of that stuff that's in the playbook, because that's how my brain works. I used to be a small business consultant, and so I like to try to get the finances dialed in. That's where my anxiety would ever show up.
yeah. I did all of that, and I didn't stop just at the landlord or
Good.
the credit card. I asked everybody, even
Yeah.
my bank. Everybody. I'm trying to reduce my expenses, just to put myself in a more, because my priority is my clients and my team. not necessarily in that
Yes.
order. Probably reverse order, my team and my clients. I want to take care of those two. So if I can reduce my expenses, then it enhances my ability to do that. And so
Yeah.
that's my goal through that. And also to come out on the other side stronger, because you're absolutely right. The federal aid is going to be a loan, and I don't want to take on more debt.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what I want out of this. I want to come out of this stronger. So that means not taking off on more debt, keeping my team in place, keep taking care of my members. And part of that is taking care of expenses. Or reducing expenses. So I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. So Paden, this has been really great, very informative, very motivational, very uplifting. I appreciate you taking the time on the show to come on
Thanks.
the show. And I would like to reserve the right to have you back on the show again, maybe once this
Awesome.
is all over, because I am curious about this hybrid model and see if you
Yeah.
can maybe whittle down your membership offerings to maybe 99, 98, somewhere in that range,
Yeah.
instead of 100. Um,
Oh, mine's a, yeah, I'm going for, no more than 5. And you're like, girl, it'd be a win for you if you can get it in the 90s.
yeah,
That's
for
funny.
sure, for sure. And then also to see how this worldwide client platform has kind of unfolded for you. So I
Yeah.
definitely want to follow up with you. So
Cool.
thanks a lot, and definitely send me the link, and I'll put it in the show notes.
I'll do that.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and this has been awesome.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye bye.